All right. Last story real quick that just happened right before the podcast, but Game Informer's Andy McNamara has announced the end of his 29-year tenure at the magazine.
He's done, man.
29
Oh my
years.
God.
That's almost as long as I was alive.
He made it out. Before the Great Reckoning.
Jason. Yeah.
Which reckoning exactly?
Yeah. Which one this week?
Yeah.
No, I loved working with Andy. He gave me my first shot in the industry. I owe him a ton. Learned a lot from him. He's a cool guy, you know. I'm really. This is bittersweet, of course. I associate Andy with that magazine, right? But at the same time, I'm happy that he's found something that seems exciting to him. So he's getting out of the video game journalism and just staying with games down in LA, I guess. But he hasn't announced exactly where.
Yeah, that's Eden Prairie to LA.
Sure. Yeah, like
that's a hell of a commute. Yeah.
At this point, there could not be a more like end of an era kind of situation than this, as far as like the old school games press goes.
Yeah.
And
he was in the club that has been to every E3.
Right.
Right.
Now,
and he's staying in video games, so in theory, if there's another E3 ever, then perhaps he will be there.
I really enjoyed. Frank Cifaldi was out there on Twitter, kind of, appropriately like trying to put this in some historical context. He said, "Let me put this in perspective. Andy's stint as a game reviewer ranged from Micro Machines for the NES to Cyberpunk 2077.
Nice.
Like that is a hell of a spread.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy was one of the first people I met when I got into doing this. He had been at Game Informer for a little bit at that point.
Right.
And yeah, Andy's great.
Right.
He's always been great. He bought us beer when we were underage. Hell yeah. Me, Glenn, and Ryan going to our first CESs and stuff like that, and meeting up with Andy and Paul and those guys. And meeting them over games. Like meeting them. The Acclaim party back then had Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam machines just there because they were doing the home versions of those games. And so you would just go there just to play the game. It was like we went to these parties, and like on one hand, it was like, oh man, we're 16 at these parties. We should, and they'll just serve us whatever. But to me, the only exciting things were that they were serving hamburgers that had basketball lines kind of burned into them, and that they had those arcade machines, and like they were around that stuff as well, and yeah, met those guys then, and just awesome. That's Game Informer to me in a weird way, is the original 4 reviewers. Basically everyone that came after Rick the Video Ranger, like I don't even know who those people are.
Sure.
Who is Dan Wright? What? Who are these people?
Yeah.
No, that's a crazy run.
Yeah, it's just he's just like the oldest of the old school. It's like, to me, it's like if Ed Semrad was just now stepping down from EGM. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
right.
In terms of a tenure, like freaking basically 30 years of running this magazine. That's
Yeah, you're right. It's not that far off. But yeah, and like I like don't get to see Andy all that often, and like it was always one of the best parts about the pre-E3 Judges Week. Is just like, oh well, I'll get to see Andy. That'll be cool. I haven't seen Andy in a full year, basically, and unless I run into him at GDC or something like that. And yeah, no, it's crazy. Like he may have been the person who had been doing it the longest at this point. Andy Eddy is still in games, but not in the same capacity.
Yeah, on the press.
I guess Jeff Green is technically now back in it with his new podcast.
Yeah, but
I don't know when Jeff Green actually got started. I don't know when his run began. Yeah. So I don't know. It is harrowing, let's say.
Oh man.
Yeah, the news hit me in a weird way this morning.
Sure.
There was definitely this feeling of just like, oh shit.
Yes, I get it.
Oh shit.
From the kind of unstoppable march of time perspective, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the news stories. Let's take one more quick break and come back with some emails.